Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Ann Reardon and this is a new one for you. Today we're going to be comparing store-bought to homemade to pastry chef recipe for blueberry muffins. Starting off with store-bought ones, if we look at the ingredients we can see they have wheat flour, water, sugar, blueberries, canola oil, dextrose, which is more sugar, egg powder, milk solids, raising agents, thickeners, salt, natural flavours, berry and vanilla, and preservative 202, which is a potassium salt that helps prevent mould from growing, which is a common problem with moist baked goods.
A girl was about to eat a muffin served to her by the school when she looked down and realized it had mold on it.
Instead of a healthy breakfast, they say students were served moldy muffins earlier this week.
An Ames school served moldy food to a student this morning. Let's take a look at that. Here is the muffin that she got for breakfast, and right here, this whole section is covered in mold.
It must have been a slow news week for that to make the news. These ones are not mouldy, they look okay. You can see some blueberry coloured bits in them. The top of them is quite moist, almost a bit sticky, which can be a sign of a higher sugar content in baked goods. Let's see how they taste. Tell me what flavour that is.
Sweet.
Cake flavoured.
It tastes like cheap artificial vanilla muffin.
It has blueberries in it.
Maybe I missed all of the fruit, the blueberries?
They don't taste of blueberries at all.
Even the blueberries don't taste of blueberries.
Now for homemade. Put the egg, oil and milk into one bowl, and in another bowl combine flour, baking powder and sugar. Whisk those dry ingredients together to get rid of any lumps and to aerate it. And I'll put all the recipe details on the How to Cook That website for you if you want to make these. Then whisk the wet ingredients together in the other bowl until they're well combined. Add the blueberries into the flour mixture, and I always use frozen blueberries so they stay super juicy when they're being baked and they stay whole while I'm stirring, they don't get squashed. Add in the wet ingredients and stir all that until it's just combined and you can't see any more flour. Place scoopfuls into a lined muffin tin. I like to put some of these in the freezer before they're baked. Just put the whole tray in the freezer and then you can take the frozen ones out of the tray and just store them in a plastic bag. And once you're ready to bake them, you can just pull out 1 or 2 muffins at a time. But before we do that, you have to make the secret topping by mixing together flour, sugar, cinnamon and butter. Once it's well mixed, just drop some little chunks on top of each muffin. And as it bakes, that will make the tops of the muffins extra crunchy and crisp and delicious. These are not as big as the store-bought ones, but they are packed with a lot more blueberries in them, and they don't need the preservatives because they're going to be eaten straight away.
A lot more fresh.
You can really taste the blueberries, and it's got a nice crunchy top.
See, that's what a blueberry muffin should taste like. I mean, besides the crispy top, which is just extra, all muffins should have that, but the actual inside,
I could definitely taste blueberries in there this time.
it's yum.
Moving on to the one by pastry chef Loretta Fanella. Loretta is an amazing pastry chef from Italy. She makes beautifully plated, delicate-looking desserts. This one has a blueberry lace, some muffin, a blueberry coated in edible glitter, and an edible flour with a thick vanilla sauce underneath. Starting with the lace, it says we need isomalt, maltodextrin, icing sugar, some blueberry puree. I made this just by pureeing blueberries and then straining it through a fine sieve to remove all the seeds, and some glucose syrup. It just says to mix this for 5 minutes and then add the remaining puree. I'm assuming it means we need to mix it over high heat because we've got to melt that isomalt, otherwise it's just going to be in there in chunks. That's looking good. So now we just need to add in the rest of the blueberry puree. Next it says to spread this mixture over a lace-shaped mould and leave it to dry in a dehydrator for 24 hours. I'm not sure if some of the details of this recipe have been lost in translation because it doesn't actually say what temperature the dehydrator should be on. So I left this one for 24 hours and then I couldn't get it out of the mould without it just breaking into tiny pieces. So then I tried again and I left it in the dehydrator just for 3 hours at 70 degrees Celsius and then ever so carefully peeled the blueberry lace out of the mould while it was still hot and flexible, and then put it on some baking paper and curved it around a bottle and put it back into the dehydrator. And I tried this a lot of times, and it was either so crispy then thin that it broke when you tried to plate it, or it was still too bendy. So I'm not going to waste any more days on this. I'm moving on to the next part of the recipe, the muffin. Put the eggs and sugar into a bowl and whisk them together. Add the melted butter and stir that in, and then add the cream and the melted white chocolate and the yogurt. Once that is all whisked together, then you want to sieve your flour to get rid of any lumps and to aerate it, and add the baking powder in there too. Then you want to mix that all together until there are no lumps. Then put scoops of that into a lined muffin tin and bake it until it's golden. For the vanilla sauce, scrape the seeds out of half of a vanilla bean. Put the cornstarch, sugar, pinch of salt, those vanilla bean seeds, milk and egg whites into a pan and whisk to combine it well. Then stir it over medium heat until it thickens. This is quite a lot of cornstarch in it, so it's going to be very, very thick when it cools. It's already thick when it's hot. Time to assemble. Put a little of that vanilla sauce onto the plate and then add the lace. Now see how this is still too bendy to hold its shape? Anyway, add more sauce on top of the lace and then a piece of muffin. A blueberry coated in edible glitter. Then I guess I'll just try and rest the lace on top of the blueberry. It's definitely not going to stand up on its own. I definitely think I needed a much wider and possibly thicker lace mould to be able to make this work properly, but it should taste the same.
Ooh la la. Wow.
There's glitter on it.
That looks so cool.
So it's a deconstructed blueberry muffin?
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
The cake is nice and soft.
But the lace, it kind of tasted like a lolly.
The lace is sticking to my teeth.
It looks beautiful, and that's about 75% of making a restaurant quality dessert.
It's nice. I like it.
What was your favourite out of all three?
My favourite was the homemade full muffin.
I really liked the second one. The third one was very nice too, though.
This one is definitely more of a cake with bits and pieces on top. The other one was more of a blueberry muffin.
I would pay the most for the last one because it just looked the nicest.
So there you have it. If you'd like to see more of these videos, give it a like and a comment and share it with your friends. With thanks to my amazing patrons for your constant support. You guys are such an encouragement. I really appreciate it. Make it a great week by being kind to others, and I'll see you on Friday.